NBA stinks. They sold their soul. They sold their soul with that gangster who passed away, who ran that league and fixed games. I'm convinced of it. I'm not going to say his name because he's dead and can't defend himself like he would even respond to this podcast, Bill. Get out of your own ego. I'm just saying. Like, what the Celtics and Lakers did accidentally, which was basically draft and through shrewd trades. I've said this a million times, but I'll say it again. Actually made two super teams. And they kept clashing in the finals, and the ratings went through the roof. You know, you had the two best players. One was a white guy, one was a black guy. It was like boxing, the Great White Hope. You know, propaganda and promotion, and they ended up passing all of the sports, even football. Like, nobody ever thought baseball was going to get past it. In the 70s, football started getting better ratings. And then basketball in the late 70s, where it looked like it was going to go under. The league went from being predominantly white in like 15 years to be predominantly black. And there was a bunch of racists that didn't want to watch it because of that. And then there was a massive, the cocaine problem. And it was the 70s, and doctors were saying cocaine was no more addictive than caffeine, which is pretty fucking addictive, I'm finding. And the league got a really bad reputation for drugged up players, which they did have. And then there was also like, not only they're drugged up, well, I can't do the Southern accent because everybody's racist. Not only they're drugged up, they're also black. We don't want to watch this, blah, blah, blah. That's what happened. And then along came a guy named Irvin Magic Johnson. And Larry Henderson Bird. Sorry, I don't know his middle name. Right? They came along. Magic Johnson, who just has the fucking charisma of a movie star, ends up in Los Angeles. Larry Bird. Just picture him at a wedding dancing. The whitest fucking guy ever. And he's twice the size of an average white guy. He's like a double cheeseburger white guy. Goes to Boston. It was perfect. And then Red Auerbach and whoever the fuck was out with the Lakers built these teams around him. They already had Kareem. Anyway, and then they end up like having this massive back and forth, Ali versus Frazier, from like 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, just kept fucking going. In the meantime, Jordan came into the league, and then the Pistons were coming up, right? With their filthy brand of fucking, we can't really play basketball, so we're going to beat you down to our talent level, horse shit that they fucking did. Oh, did you leave your feet? I'm going to take them out from underneath you and act like, this is some sort of strategy beyond, I'm just trying to hurt you and end your career. Anyway, having said that, I did like Joe Dumars, John Sally, and Isaiah Thomas, Vinny Microwave Johnson. I actually did like all of those guys. I even like Mahorn. I just didn't like Lambeer. It's just like, dude, you're just out there cheating. Someone leaves their feet and you just take them out. Like anybody, a guy in a crowd could do that to you and have you land on your fucking head. Anyway, they made all of this money. And then all of a sudden, then they went to Jordan, and then Jordan leaves. And then they're like, what the fuck do we do now? That's when I think they started fixing games. And they just allowed, then that became their business model. Well, in the 80s, we made all of this money. What was it because? Because these two juggernaut teams were playing each other. Okay, that's our business model. That's what keeps us on top, so we don't give a fuck. And that's why they allowed Durant to go to fucking the Warriors. I've said all this shit a million times before. I don't even know how I got off on that. I'm like, seriously, I know I do this all the time. It fucking kills me because I love basketball. I love the way it used to be. And everybody had a big man and a star fucking point guard, and they just went at it. As opposed to all fucking hanging out, drinking rosé, and piling on the same fucking team. Oh, Billy Old Man in the house. All right. With that, my daughter drew me a picture today or yesterday. Oh, no, she actually made this thing when I was coming back from the road. It was one of those things where you fold it and it has a picture and then you open it. It says something else. It said love in it. And I save all those things. And someday when she gets older and she moves out or gets married, I'm going to look at those and I'm going to cry. Until then, I'm going to enjoy the ride, baby. All right, let's do the reads for this week. Sorry if I'm babbling, all right, because I really, I already did a fucking hour and 50 of talking to myself. By the way, talking about that goddamn universal. My wife is like the king of getting the VIP. We are forever walking around lines. We are forever sitting in lounges and all that. It costs an arm and a leg. And I'm always like, what the fuck? But then when we get there, I always look at her and go, all right, you were right. This is the way to do it. She goes, yeah, just let me handle this shit. So Universal, the park, it's like Delta Airlines where you think you're in group one. You are in group one, but 19 groups are going to fucking board before you. Half the fucking plane's on you. Like, what the fuck? So we got these VIP things thinking that we were going to walk by all these sad sacks standing in fucking line. And whatever VIP, we didn't get VIP extra special fucking, missing a limb VIP, whatever the fuck it was. A veteran mother missing a limb fucking group. They were just like, yeah, this doesn't apply to this ride. And we're like, all right, well, I guess we'll just stand in line. It was 2 hours and 40 fucking minutes. Dude, there was kids crying. There was no water. There was nothing. And then you were like standing in the sun. Then you go into the structure, come back out, go back in, come back out. I mean, I don't even know what. And it was like, when we were going back outside, they'd have these big poles, holding the structure up. And parents were sending their kids to stand in the shade while they weaved around the fucking line to come back around again. Dude, it was for a 3-minute ride. We walked out of that thing, and the whole time we're sitting there, and every once in a while, like 12 people would just whisk by in this other line, and I'm just sitting there looking like, why the fuck didn't we get those tickets? And I was like, well, if I say this, she's going to get mad. Because I'm going to say she did something wrong and I didn't do anything to get this thing going. So I'm not going to fucking say. And I finally, after like an hour and 15 minutes, I was just like, when people walked by, I was like, what are those tickets? And she goes, I know. She goes, I thought that I had the VIP and I thought that would get us past this line, but they said it didn't count. And this is the thing too. We paid an extra $100 for these fucking tickets. So we would go around the line and we showed up and they're like, yeah, no, that doesn't count. You can do that on like the fucking Witches of Eastwick ride, some ride that's like 20 years old. You can do like what you have works on that ride, but not the brand new shit. This is the brand new Super Mario World, which was amazing, by the way. So long story short, we finally ended up getting in there and we got on the ride and it was only 3 minutes long. And I was just sitting there going like, oh my God, is this like, because like one of the kids, we went with this other dad and he brought his son. And at one point the kid was just like hanging over the rail, staring at the ground. And he just goes, this is the most boring thing I've ever done in my life. And I was like, oh my God, this is a fucking nightmare. But we finally got on the ride and we walked out. We went to the Simpsons part. I got a Krusty burger and I just looked at my wife and I was just like, dude, I am wiped. All right. And fortunately, our daughter was cool with leaving. We bought like a Super Mario t-shirt or some shit. And we got in the car and we came home and I was thinking the car ride home was just quiet. My daughter fell asleep. Me and my wife just had like a 600-yard stare. And we end up getting back into we get to the house and when we get back, my daughter's grandmother, my mother-in-law was there. And she was like, how was it? And my daughter just freaked out. She goes, it was unbelievable. So I was like, all right, thank God. Thank God. All right. And there you go. See, you learn something from kids. You stand in a 2-hour and 40-minute line, but still, if you get to ride on the ride, it's unbelievable. Then again, they have young legs, unlike myself. All right,